Hi, I'm Meredith Kahn, and this is my first YouTube video. I'm a student in sociology for family and child studies, and in one of my classes, Introduction to Family Processes, I'm learning about family rules. So today I just wanted to share a little bit of information about what I've learned. Every family has rules. Rules are not just spoken or written requests. They can be the unspoken rules or guidelines that guides individuals' actions within a family. You can have basically written rules, like, for example, I have a chore sheet in my home where every member of the family has to do chores, and they mark off every day if they completed their chores. There can be unspoken rules, like how you greet each other. When my kids come home, we always, hug each other or give each other I give them a kiss on the cheek and say, hi, how was your day? So that would be kind of like an unspoken rule. I'm going to go over some of the reasons that we have rules. The first thing would be accountability. When families have rules, it's to keep every member of the family accountable so that we can reach our goals. And it teaches responsibility. You have to be responsible, and it keeps the family going. Another thing I'd like to talk about is boundaries. Rules set up certain boundaries as protection for each individual family. Or one example would be my 13-year-old son likes to come home and go to his room, and he'll close his door, and that's kind of him setting his boundaries. He needs a little privacy, a little time to kind of wind down as soon as he gets home from school, change his clothes, and be alone, have a moment of peace before he comes out and does his homework. Another thing about rules would be distance regulation. There's some families that are too close, and I'm sure you've seen them before. Like, they're so close, there's always drama, everybody's in each other's business, or it just creates a lot of tension between family members. Then there's some families who are so distant that they don't even support each other. They, aren't there for each other. They're really not. They don't speak. They don't communicate as well as they should. I feel like it should be somewhere in the middle. Any extreme on that type of family is going to have a negative impact on the family and the members of the family. It should be that each individual member can be an individual and have self-actualization, and be able to have their own individual goals, but at the same time you want the family to be close enough that they can talk and communicate, and they can support each other, and be there for each other. And that's a wonderful thing. The next thing is why we have rules is resource allocation. Where does the family spend their money? What bills are we paying? Where do we spend our extra money on vacations or cars? Or, sometimes I like to go get my hair done when I actually have time to do something like that, or get a pedicure. We discuss how, if we have money for me to do that, for example. Or the time, because I barely ever have time to do anything like that, but money would be. The next thing I'd like to talk about is rules of responsibility, and that's basically the roles that we play within the family. Who's the person that does most of the cooking in the house, or who's the person who takes on the role of nurturer or caregiver? Who steps up when there's a death in the family and takes that role? Who's better at that role? And that kind of helps, the family knowing who's going to be responsible for what. Another thing I'd like to talk about is implementation, and that's rules on how to follow smaller rules that help you follow the bigger rule or accomplish the bigger goal. One example would be having dinner. Like, let's say my family has dinner at 6 o'clock every night. Well, someone has to cook the dinner. Then there's an unspoken rule that, someone's setting the table, who's fixing the drinks, and then after dinner, 6 o'clock, who's doing the dishes. This would be kind of the implementation of rules. Another thing about rules is there's always an exception to the rule. You always have to have some exceptions. In my house, I always do the dishes. But let's say that I'm sick, and I can't do the dishes for a week. I'm really, really sick. Other family members in my house will step up and do the dishes for me because they know that I'm too sick, it's not going to get done, and we have to have dishes to eat and and so that's just one example of exceptions to the rules. The last thing I'd like to talk about is the violation of the rules. If there is a violation of the rules, I have 5 children. If one of them does not follow the rules or violates the rules, then there's going to be consequences in my house. And one thing that I've learned that's really important is that when I give a consequence, then I must follow through with the consequence that I told them. Otherwise, they're not going to believe me. They're not going to think that I follow through with what I tell them that is a consequence. And if you don't have consequences for the violation of the rules, then there's nothing that's keeping the children from following the rules. Those are just a few things that I learned in one of the sections inside one of the chapters about family rules, and I thought it was interesting, something that would be interesting to share, that not too many people take that time to think about why we have rules. And it's interesting that it's so many rules that we don't even think about in our family lives on our day-to-day basis that we actually have that are unwritten, unspoken, and it just happens. And these little bitty things that really make your family unique. So I appreciate you watching the video, and thank you.